Hello my friends and welcome to the Electric Viking. Fantastic to see you here on the channel. Now if you haven't already subscribed, I'd be stoked if you did so, and I'll do my best to provide you with the best content and the best videos that talk about the EV market, about renewable energy, and about where the world is going in this area. Now, getting to what's happening in the United Kingdom. Well, recently Nissan has announced they're building what you could kind of call a gigafactory, a battery factory, and a car factory to build EVs and batteries in the UK, which is great news for the United Kingdom. Now remember, last month, Tesla Model 3 was the second highest selling car in the United Kingdom, full stop. That's not the EV chart, that's just cars, full stop. Tesla was number 2 with the Model 3. Now imagine Tesla is building Model 3 and Model Y and other vehicles at its plant in Gigafactory Berlin. It can decrease the prices and of course get a lot more supply to London, to England, to the United Kingdom. And then, of course, Tesla sales are going to drastically increase in that area. In addition to that, add other factories going up, Volkswagen building out the ID3, the ID4, the ID5, Korean car makers bringing more cars in. The market is changing dramatically. Surveys are showing that consumers are starting to consider seriously buying an EV for their next car, if they haven't already bought one. Now, the number of drivers expecting their next car to be electric has risen by almost a third, according to new research published this week. A study of more than 2,000 drivers by garage chain QuickFit found 11% of drivers who plan to change their car expect its replacement to be fully electric. Now, QuickFit ran a similar survey last year when just 8% of respondents said they would be switching to an EV. So obviously this shows that the number of people expecting their next car to be electric has risen by 32% in just 12 months. Now I personally think this survey is massively understating the situation. Otherwise, how on earth is Tesla becoming such a popular manufacturer in the United Kingdom? That is in spite of the fact that Teslas are astronomically expensive. I'm not talking about the Tesla Model X or the Model S here. Any Tesla is astronomically expensive in the United Kingdom. Yep, it's true. So those prices will come down by at least 30 to 40% once Tesla is building cars from its gigafactory in Berlin. But in spite of that, the prices of EVs are going to massively drop over the next few years in the UK. More incentives will roll out. Of course, car manufacturers are aware that the United Kingdom has banned the sales of diesel, gas, petrol vehicles as of 2030 onwards. So, if you add the number of people expecting the next car to be a hybrid to the mix, the number rises to 37%. That's up from 33% last year. Now, as a result, hybrid and electric cars have overtaken more conventional internal combustion powered vehicles as most drivers' next vehicle. Last year's study found 41% of respondents thought their next car would have a petrol or diesel engine, but that figure has since fallen to 35%. So only 35% of people are believing their next car will have a petrol or diesel engine. Only 35%. Now, and the number of drivers unsure of what their next car will be has also risen. Last year, just a quarter, 26% of motorists had no idea what would power their next car, but that has risen to almost 3 in 10 or 28% this year. To me, it feels like a bit of a Nokia moment. That moment where everyone starts to use smartphones and Nokia is left behind. Or maybe a bit of a Kodak moment. Anyway, drivers in London were the most likely to consider going hybrid or fully electric, with 65% of drivers saying they are doing just that. The second highest region is the northeast of England, where 49% are considering a low emission vehicle. The region with the least enthusiasm for the new technology is Scotland, where just under a quarter, 24% of drivers say they will get a hybrid or electric car next. Oh, you Scots. Maybe they're all still running around in kilts and they're still cold. Anyway, QuickFit says the research shows encouraging drivers to switch to electric vehicles as soon as possible will be a challenge in their minds. I don't believe that's true. The company says the average driver expects to change their vehicle in just under 2 years' time, 21.6 months, while those expecting their next car to be electric plan to change in 23.9 months. In comparison, the average driver picking a petrol or diesel car as their next vehicle will change in 17.6 months. Now, across the UK, the lack of charging points is the biggest factor, not yet considering such a car, citing, I guess it's true that a lot of people in the United Kingdom live in apartments, so therefore they may have less access to charging points at their place of residence, at their home, for example. QuickFit says this research shows that over the last 12 months, car buyers appear to have passed a tipping point in the switch to electric cars. However, although consideration of low emission models has overtaken that for petrol and diesel, there is clearly still a lot of work to do to convince some drivers. Some barriers to consideration can be put down to misperception or a lack of up-to-date knowledge, and the industry must work together to address those areas. But it's also vital that there is visible investment made in the charging infrastructure to ensure that drivers have the confidence to make the switch. Personally, I believe many people are just Luddites, as they say in the UK. They resist change in any way or form. Doesn't matter if that change is for the better, they still resist it. And that's probably a fairly normal human emotion. But with awareness growing every day, this is the future. And you'll see an increase in the percentages towards the EV spectrum in these charts and in these surveys every 6 months, every year for the next decade. This is the future. We are seeing an acceleration in the plug-in market grow year on year by 60% this year to 5 million units, and that would represent 6.25% of the global passenger car market. Slowly but surely, or maybe more quicker than we realize, we're getting there. Now, over this decade, we will see an enormous number of new EVs hit the global marketplace as most of the major OEMs are ramping up for EV production, and new models will hit the streets over the next few years. This abundance of choice for customers, including pickups and compact cars, will help to really move the yardsticks forward for EV adoption. And don't forget, there's going to be a number of new entrants from the Chinese car market where they have more than 400 EV manufacturers. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.